Okay, thank you, Iris. Yesterday, Speaker of the House Paul Ryan recognized Representative Will Hurd's leadership on border security, trade, and transnational cooperation. Congressman Hurd was appointed to the U.S. Mexico Interparliamentary Group. His district stretches from far east El Paso County all the way to San Antonio, which is about 820 miles long on the border. Earlier this month, Hurd questioned Department of Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly about the feasibility of President Trump's executive order to build a physical barrier across the entire southern border.
My concern is that I feel like we need to stop talking about getting in the wall-making business and get in the border security business. And your concept of defense in depth, I think, is the right place to be.
So joining us now is Will Hurd, representative for the 23rd Congressional District of Texas. Congressman Hurd, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me on. It's always good to be here.
Of course. So let's get right to it. You said we shouldn't be in the wall-making business. You've been very vocal about being against that border wall. Why is that?
Well, building a wall from sea to shining sea is the most expensive and least effective way to do border security. If you have a physical barrier in the Chihuahuan Desert and there's nobody there to respond to a threat at the wall, it's a huge misuse of hard-earned taxpayer dollars. What we should be doing is spending that money helping the NSA and the CIA collect more intelligence on the drug trafficking organizations that are operating in Mexico and Central America. We should be collecting intelligence on the kingpin human smugglers and dealing with the problem before it actually gets to our border and working with our friends in Mexico on this threat. We could be using technology. Some of the technology that we deploy along the border is 20 years old. It's archaic now. Let's use new technologies so that we can understand what's going back and forth across the border. But because border security is important, and nobody discounts that. The world that we have gotten from our parents is more dangerous than theirs, and the world that we could potentially be leaving to our children is going to be more dangerous than ours. So we need to be committed to protecting our country, but let's do it smart. And that's why when you go through Santa Elena Canyon, where you have a 6,000-foot cliff, and then the Rio Grande, and then another 6,000-foot cliff, I don't think you need a wall in the middle of that place.
Yeah, certainly some places lend themselves more geographically, topographically to that wall. But here in Far East El Paso County, for example, east of Tornillo, there's just an area where there's no wall. Right. Do you think that in some areas maybe a wall would be good? Maybe there should be a need for additional fencing?
We have about 2,000, a little bit under 2,000 miles of border between the U.S. and Mexico. We have 650 miles of fencing right now. There are some places where additional fencing would make sense, where there's urban-to-urban contact, and you need some kind of barrier in order to improve response times. But you know, let's be thoughtful. And a wall is a tool, or a fence is a tool. And we should use all the tools in our toolkit. And we can't have a one-size-fits-all solution to our border. What you need in San Diego is very different than what you need in Tornillo, and very different than what you need in a place like Eagle Pass or Harlingen.
How about your appointment to the Interparliamentary Group? You're focusing on U.S. Mexico relations at a time where, because of some of the rhetoric that the president has been using, those relations are strained. Why is it important for us to have a good dialogue back and forth between Mexico?
Mexico's our partner. Mexico's our friend. Here in El Paso, we know that El Paso and Juarez are not two separate communities. It's one community separated by an international boundary. Our Texas, and Mexico, is Texas's #1 trading partner. We should be talking about how we improve trade, increase trade, not do things that could potentially get us into a trade war. The relationship between our two countries are deep and wide, and I'm looking forward to working on strengthening those relationships, strengthening NAFTA. We should be looking at NAFTA as a way to as a NAFTA 2.0 helps us improve North American competitiveness in places like Asia in Africa. And this new assignment from Paul Ryan, I'm looking forward to working on that, because I recognize the U.S. and Mexico, we build things together. Things go back and forth across our border multiple times before there's a finished product. And since NAFTA, the amount of trade that has gone to Mexico has increased significantly. I want to see that continue, and I want to make sure that we're doing things together.
And Congressman Hurd, you've also been vocal about President Trump's executive orders on the travel ban from those 7 Muslim-majority countries. Why is that?
Well, here in El Paso, with the home of Fort Bliss, we recognize the importance of our men and women that are willing to serve in the military. We have 10,000 Americans that are serving in those 7 countries, and this immigration ban puts an additional target on their backs. The men and women that are serving in Iraq, they're on a military base that's protected by whom? Our special forces that are in Syria, who are they working shoulder to shoulder with? Syrians. Right? If we're going to stop one of the most difficult things that we are challenged with today, and that's Islamic extremism, Islamic terrorism, only way we're going to solve that problem is with allies. And this immigration ban is a show of distrust for those people that we have to be working with. Iraqis, Syrians, they have paid the ultimate price by their sons and daughters in fighting ISIS and trying to keep the fight away from our shores. And so, again, to do this, we have to have allies. And we can't do anything that makes it difficult for our partners to continue to work with us.
Okay, Congressman Hurd, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. And we're back with more news after the break.